The first love Ethan had been waiting for had returned from abroad. I initiated the divorce and disappeared completely. Yet after the separation, he searched the world for his supposedly unloving ex-wife. On the winter solstice afternoon, I went alone to the hospital to collect my medical report. On the way back, I stopped at a newly opened bubble tea shop. The place was nearly empty except for a young couple lost in each other's company. As I reached my apartment complex, Ethan's call came through. I waited in silence for him to speak first. Liam is returning next month. Let's divorce. Name your compensation. Sure. The line went quiet, as if he hadn't expected such immediate agreement. What's your game? Ethan, you're not solid gold. After all these years. I'm bored. Any problem with that? When are you available? Anytime. After all, I was unemployed, a homemaker. Where are you? My lawyer will meet you later. I rummaged through my bag for the access card, fingers brushing crumpled receipts before finding it. What's there to discuss? I took $80,000. Left the house empty. The papers are ready at the east suburb property. Sign if there's no issue. Where are you? Does it matter? I countered. The call ended with his sharp exhale. I'd known this divorce was inevitable since Ethan mentioned Liam's impending return 6 months ago. Preparation spared me humiliation. He wanted pristine love for Liam, so did I. Ethan had been my teenage daydream, a wistful what-if. In that fantasy, I loved the boy reading under the tree, while his heart remained steadfastly Liam's. Our divorce proceeded with clinical efficiency. 40 days from signing papers to holding the decree, coincidentally, the same day Liam's flight landed. Leaving the civil affairs office, I returned to my rented room, collected my last suitcase, and headed straight to the airport. This city where they'd loved each other now felt suffocating. My new coastal town offered blessed anonymity. No connections. No history, just crisp sea air and liberation. 3 months later, I opened a coffee shop, hired staff, and became a hands-off owner. Opening day brought a steady stream of customers, including many couples. I often sketched by the window, the door chimes ding-dong punctuating my charcoal strokes. Mind if I share your table? I looked up to find a striking young man in a white Oxford shirt, his clean scent mingling with coffee aromas. Oddly familiar, though I couldn't place him. With seats scarce, refusing customers wasn't an option. Not at all. He settled across from me with practiced ease. He became my accidental tablemate over subsequent days. Our interactions limited to polite nods until I impulsively gifted him a sketch, caught capturing his pensive profile against the window light. I tore off the page when he noticed. Here, for staring without permission. He studied the drawing, sunlight gilding his lashes. When his gaze lifted, something unreadable flickered behind his polite smile. You see people differently. The observation lingered like steam from our coffee cups. That night, I found a business card slipped between my sketchpad, Nathan Sullivan, architect, with a handwritten note, the artist deserves better lighting. Only then did I recognize the Sullivan surname. My ex-husband's world, reaching across cities to brush against my carefully constructed solitude. Yet as autumn leaves swirled outside, I caught myself anticipating tomorrow's door chime. Such beautiful artwork. I'll treasure it. I notice you come here every day. Are you waiting for someone? The question slipped out before I could stop myself. We were strangers sharing a park bench. This felt too intrusive. Like prying into personal matters. What if I'd accidentally reopened old wounds? Just as I considered retracting the question, the man shook his head with an easy smile. Would you write something for me? He gestured to the blank corner of his sketchpad. I took the proffered pen, warning him about my messy handwriting. What should I write? Olivia Carter to Nathan Sullivan. February 18th. 2020. My pen froze mid-stroke. My head snapped up to meet his gaze. Let's start over. I'm Nathan Sullivan. He rose, extending his hand. That name crashed through mental barricades I'd built years ago, unleashing a flood of buried memories. The summer before 9th grade still hums with cicada songs in my mind, though technically still 8th graders. Our entire class got hauled back to campus after one measly vacation week for preparatory courses. The air vibrated with collective teenage despair. I'd recently been reclaimed from the orphanage by my biological parents. Though home felt alien, school dormitories became my refuge. Especially after the incident. Advanced placement classes meant heavier workloads. Emily, my desk mate, nudged me urgently during geometry. Stop zoning out. Mister. Luz glared at you 3 times. I shot upright, drawing every eye in the classroom. Sir, I need to visit the infirmary. Our teacher scrutinized me, clearly doubting my sudden illness but waving us out anyway. Only when the classroom door closed did the burning stare between my shoulder blades disappear. Emily linked arms with me as we walked, pressing a cool hand to my forehead. You okay? Really sick? I shook my head silently. How could I explain that the girl sitting 3 rows back, Liam, was now my stepsister through bizarre circumstances? That I'd transformed overnight from a charity case to the long-lost heiress of Johnson Enterprises? The family drama unfolded like cheap reality TV. Apparently, after my kidnapping at age 3 left Mrs. Johnson catatonic. They'd adopted Liam from another orphanage as an emotional placeholder. Childhood amnesia from high fever made the adoption easy to conceal until Mr. Johnson dragged me home during family dinner. Liam's meltdown became legend, shattered dishes. Food splattered across Persian rugs. Herself collapsing in tearful hysterics. When she awoke convinced they'd discard her, the silent weeping marathon began. Mrs. Johnson's matching waterworks got me exiled back to the orphanage that same night. After a week's stalemate, they reinstalled me in a ground floor maid's room, windowless. As if I were some shameful secret. I spent that first night staring at blank walls, grateful when morning brought escape to school dorms. We nearly collided with Ethan outside the infirmary. The Sullivan and Johnson families ran in the same elite circles, Ethan and Liam being childhood sweethearts with arranged marriage prospects. His piercing gaze swept over me, cataloging every detail. Emily yanked me behind her before I could speak. Move along, please. Ethan stared for a moment before snorting disdainfully through his nose and walking away. Pfft. What kind of attitude is that? Top 10 in the grade. My foot. We'll beat him next time. Emily stuck out her tongue at Ethan's retreating figure. Her playful grimace made me chuckle quietly, the gloom in my heart momentarily lifting. I grabbed her wrist before she could enter the infirmary. Feeling better. Let's get popsicles. I whispered conspiratorially, tugging her down the hallway while the school nurse organized medicine bottles. We ended up skipping morning classes, perched on flowerbed edges watching varsity basketball practice as we nibbled our frozen treats. Emily's eyes shone with that familiar longing, her childhood dream of becoming a WNBA star now reduced to wistful sidelines observation. Later, Liam's grades slipped from the top 10 ranks, and Ethan voluntarily fell from his valedictorian throne to keep her company. I studied relentlessly until finally surpassing Ethan's scores, yet often found myself gazing through classroom windows at the golden couple beneath the maple tree. Ethan would hold advanced reading materials, patiently explaining problems to Liam, picture perfect sweethearts destined for yearbook royalty. My only friend Emily left permanently after the amputation surgery, her basketball dreams and family relocating from Lynn City during chemotherapy. High school found me in dorms while Ethan and Liam commuted together daily from their neighboring homes. The honor roll hierarchy solidified with 2 new fixtures, Nathan reigning supreme above Olivia. Though familiar with Nathan's name from countless first-place announcements, I'd rarely seen the elusive student who only appeared for exams due to alleged health issues. Let's reintroduce ourselves. Nathan. He stood offering his hand with unsettling familiarity. My polite handshake and apologetic smile seemed to fracture some invisible expectation. His practiced grin faltering momentarily. The coffee shop encounter left faint ripples in my routine. I began avoiding Nathan's usual visiting hours until he eventually stopped lingering. Chloe from the neighboring flower shop became my new regular. Her peony deliveries and sunny disposition reminiscent of Emily's spirit. Today the young florist twirled her milk tea straw mischievously. "Olivia, ever thought about expanding your social circle?" Her almond eyes sparkled with matchmaking fervor as I humored the conversation. "I've got the perfect candidate. 29. 6 foot. Ivy League educated CFO with old money manners and," she paused dramatically, grasping my sketchbook. "My chronically ill older brother who desperately needs cheering up." Her theatrical whisper contained startling sincerity, reminding me of last month's confession about her family's black sheep, the Sullivan heir who'd withdrawn from society years ago. "Your brother? How did you know?" Chloe's eyes widened with genuine shock. "You mentioned having an older brother with health issues before." "Oh." Her shoulders slumped as she recalled the prior conversation. "He used to have cardiac problems. But after high school he went to America for a heart transplant. The surgery went perfectly. He's been healthy for over a decade now with just regular checkups. I'd never have introduced Olivia to him otherwise." "I swear every word's true." Chloe raised her right hand solemnly. "Your parents don't mind?" "Mind? I'm terrified Olivia might reject him. If this works out, my parents would throw a week-long celebration." "All right then." "All right? All right." The gloom instantly evaporated from Chloe's face as she released my hand and darted toward the exit. "I'm calling Nathan right now." I smiled faintly, unexpectedly warmed by the thought of joining this lively family, something I'd never truly had. The scene unfolding before me still caught me off guard despite mental preparation. Chloe's radiant grin beside Nathan's composed demeanor, who could have guessed they were siblings from the prestigious Sullivan family. "Olivia. This is my brother Nathan." "Nathan. Meet Olivia." Before I could respond, Chloe had already vanished across the street. Blind dating a high school classmate, one I deliberately avoided for years, was surreal. My forced polite smile froze when Nathan unexpectedly chuckled. "My apologies," he said, sliding the menu toward me with amusement dancing in his obsidian eyes. "Shall we order? This restaurant's excellent." I nodded, resolving to treat this as a simple reunion meal. "Thank you. I've actually wanted to have dinner with you for years. But our schedules never aligned." His gaze held mine, igniting warmth across my cheeks that forced me to focus on the lobster bisque. The interminable meal finally ended. When Nathan offered to drive me home, I declined, just as I planned to secretly hail a cab after his departure. He leaned close enough for his breath to brush my ear. "Olivia, I've known you longer than you realize." His eyes reflected streetlights and my stunned expression until I fled without understanding why. That night, Ethan haunted my dreams for the first time in years. I sat by the classroom window instinctively scanning the oak grove where Ethan and Liam usually lingered. Today, the clearing stood empty. A prickle between my shoulder blades made me whirl toward the doorway, catching only a retreating silhouette. Bolting after the figure, I collided with Ethan himself standing beside Liam near the exit. Though Liam's hostility vanished instantly, I barely registered it as I pushed past them in desperate pursuit. In the dream, the hallway of the school building stretched endlessly. I was fixated on chasing the figure running ahead, desperate to know their identity but never closing the distance. What would I even do if I caught up? Confront them about peeking through the back door? Maybe they were just passing by. My consciousness drifted between sleep and wakefulness until the timed AC shutoff jolted me awake with sticky heat. My phone chimed intrusively. A friend request from Nathan blinked on the screen. Suddenly, his features superimposed perfectly with the elusive figure from my dream. "So it was you," I murmured. "Nathan." Our meetings multiplied under silent permission. when Chloe and I planned a casual dinner at my place. Nathan naturally joined, undoubtedly Chloe's scheming. But our grocery run collided with my worst nightmare, Liam. My body instinctively retreated behind store shelves before logic intervened. Where there's Liam, Ethan follows. Nathan calmly placed ingredients in our cart, his gaze briefly following mine. I wondered how much he knew about my history with them. Should we leave? He asked. Our cart held enough supplies, though I'd left Lynn City precisely to avoid these ghosts. Old instincts died hard. Let's go. The familiar license plate in the parking garage froze my blood. Relief came with the realization this had to be coincidence, not calculated, until Ethan materialized at the store exit. What are you doing here? Can't I exist? His smile turned predatory as he reached for me. I dodged, Nathan stepping between us like a human shield. Ethan's eyes finally registered Nathan. Mocking laughter twisted his lips. Already found a replacement? No wonder you vanished after the divorce. Premeditated. Huh. Nathan's fist silenced him with a sickening crack. Watch your mouth. Ethan. Who the hell are you? Ethan swung wildly. I tried pulling Nathan back, but he stood immovable, taking the punch square on the jaw. Something snapped. My palm connected with Ethan's face before I registered moving. He stared, dumbstruck, the obedient wife who'd never raised her voice now striking him. You're defending him? His voice cracked. I inhaled sharply, anger crystallizing. We're divorced. My life is none of your concern. His disbelief curdled into rage as his gaze volleyed between us. Fine. Don't come crawling back. The venom in his laugh followed us long after he disappeared. With a final venomous retort, Ethan stormed out without looking back. His outburst ruined our planned dinner, leaving behind an uncomfortable silence. Days later, Liam unexpectedly appeared at my cafe during a rare moment of peace. She occupied my usual seat, draped in a 5-figure designer suit with immaculate makeup, every strand of hair radiating aristocratic precision. During my years as Mrs. Sullivan, I'd attended countless society teas filled with hundreds of carbon copy socialites like her. They'd chatter about art exhibitions and runway collections while drenched in cloying perfumes, their practiced smiles evaporating the moment the limousine windows rolled up. Though I'd forced myself into their gilded world, I could never become one of them. Countless sleepless nights found me questioning, did I regret marrying Ethan? Was persisting worth it? Had everything been wrong from the start? Only when learning of Liam's return did clarity strike. I'd never wanted this. My stubborn perseverance stemmed from wounded pride and chasing after love that never existed. Neither from my parents nor my husband. Liam's scrutinizing gaze swept over me, contempt dripping from her arched brow. Care to talk? We've nothing to discuss. Her eyes darted around the bustling cafe, jingling door chimes, hissing espresso machines. Just a quick word. Won't interfere with business. I sat across from her. Well, not offering me a drink? She flipped through the menu. I stood to leave immediately. Ethan refuses to marry me. Your relationship issues don't concern me. He claims you share a child. To protect the Johnson family interests, I need custody. Hand the baby over and everyone benefits. Don't delude yourself he'll come chasing after some maternal fantasy. I inhaled sharply, baffled by the absurdity. Legally, the Johnsons only have one daughter. They never officially adopted me to avoid extra taxes. Every cent they spent on my education and living expenses was repaid when I left Linden City. You abandoned Ethan for overseas studies, then married him to bail out Johnson Enterprises after graduation. My debt's settled. Whatever happens to your family now isn't my responsibility. As for the baby, I paused deliberately. Terminated during the divorce. Terminated? How could you? I cut her off. I want no further connections with the Johnsons, the Sullivans, or Ethan. Liam's expression darkened. Turning to leave, I froze seeing Mrs. Johnson standing motionless behind us, her face ashen. How much had she heard? Offering a curt nod, I retreated behind the counter. Ethan's contradictions bewildered me. He married me while loving Liam, divorced me to reunite with her, then regretted it. Liam discarded him years ago, now seeks reconciliation. Perhaps people only value what they've lost. The Johnsons barely left when Ethan arrived, turning my cafe into their free conference room. His opening mirrored Liam's perfectly, childhood sweethearts indeed. Nothing left to discuss, I said as the door chime announced his entrance. Just settled things with Liam. Sort your couple issues privately. Liam came here? What did she say? I set down the coffee cup I'd been wiping, losing patience as I issued an eviction notice. The person you should be questioning isn't me. You're not welcome here, don't come bothering me again. The door chime tinkled as new customers entered. Ethan remained stubbornly planted before the counter. Sir, would you like to order? If not, please let the next customer through, the front desk girl asked cheerfully, proving herself an expert at playing dumb. Ethan glanced around at the nearly full cafe before reluctantly ordering a latte. Grabbing my phone, I moved from behind the counter toward the exit. With 2 employees due for their shift soon, there was no need to linger. My outfit, a basic tee paired with an ankle-length skirt and comfortable Crocs, hair hastily pinned up, stood in stark contrast to the meticulously styled Liam from before. Comfort reigned supreme now. Ethan's arm shot out to block my path as I passed him. You're going out like that? He demanded. I shook off his grip. What he saw as slovenly. I considered liberation. Why torture myself with primping for a mere work shift? Since when do you own the sidewalks? I retorted, pushing through the door. He followed. You left me and hid in F-City just to live like this? Live like what? I finally get to exist for myself. You lost any right to judge me years ago. I'm sorry, but I need you to know I'm serious about wanting another chance. His voice thickened. These past 6 months, I realize now that while I once loved Liam, what I feel for you is different. We had 5 years together. Are you really willing to throw that away? You don't love me. You're just addicted to the ghost of what we had. My advice? Marry Liam. Make her your new habit. You'll discover your true feelings soon enough. My voice cracked unexpectedly, tears welling as I waited for traffic to clear. Across the street, Nathan emerged from a car, his gaze locking onto mine. We had a child. Can't there still be a chance? The raw pain in his eyes startled me, so rarely had I seen Nathan vulnerable. Meeting his stare, I sighed. If you know about the termination, you understand my decision is final. Persecute the Johnsons all you want, that's your business. But don't make choices you'll regret. As the crosswalk signal changed, I strode toward Nathan. Ethan called after me, but I didn't look back. Some bridges needed burning. After several failed attempts to rekindle what we'd had, both Ethan and Liam eventually stopped coming, though Ethan still occasionally haunted the cafe, nursing coffees for hours. He became just another face in the crowd. 2 years slid by. Chloe had since integrated her floral shop with the cafe, remodeling the combined space into an Instagram-worthy hotspot with monthly themed installations. Happy to remain a silent partner, I contented myself with occasional shifts and plein-air painting excursions while Chloe spearheaded the business. The sly matchmaker never abandoned her covert campaigns to push Nathan and me together, though she'd never admit it. Wealth and leisure make better companions than men anyway, she declared once, only to yelp when Nathan smacked her upside the head for the remark. As for Nathan and me, an unspoken understanding hummed between us. Fragile as rice paper yet stronger than steel. Some truths needn't be voiced to be known. During a casual moment, I discovered 3 Polaroid photos tucked inside a book. The first showed the orphanage where I grew up. The second captured me daydreaming by a high school classroom window. And the third depicted me napping in the university library during sophomore year. Holding these photos, I confronted Chloe with the question that had haunted me for years. Is your brother a stalker? Chloe waved her hands frantically in denial. Of course not. Our family used to live next to that orphanage. She pointed to the faintly visible apartment building behind the orphanage in the first photo. But I don't know about the other two. Then where did these come from? I pressed, avoiding eye contact. Chloe mumbled almost inaudibly. I took them from Nathan's photo album. Suddenly meeting my gaze, she blurted out in exasperation. Ugh. He's been hopelessly tongue-tied since we were kids. He's liked you forever but never had the guts to say anything. It's been driving me crazy. Before I could process this, Nathan appeared behind me and snatched the photos from my hands. Under his warning glare, Chloe made a hasty exit, sticking her tongue out at me as she left. I'm sorry, Nathan began, his voice unsteady. My congenital heart condition kept me isolated growing up. Even in high school, I couldn't risk approaching you. After finally getting surgery abroad and returning, I found you already engaged. His fingers trembled against mine. I've always been late, so I wanted to wait until you were ready to hear this. When I saw you again, my heart felt like it might burst. Every beat screamed how much I wanted to be near you. But I couldn't risk losing even your friendship. I stared at Nathan, breath catching as my own pulse roared in my ears. Gathering courage, I pushed the photos aside and clasped his hand. No more secret photos. They're terrible anyway, I added. Nathan's eyes glistened as he intertwined our fingers with shaking hands. Deal. Epilogue, Nathan. Nathan's fragile health was common knowledge. The congenital heart defect inherited from his grandfather prohibited sports, regular schooling, even strong emotions. His family relocated from suburban estates to an aging neighborhood near downtown hospitals. Next door stood an orphanage housing parentless children. During lonely hours, young Nathan would watch the bustling courtyard below, children chasing laughter and tears across sunlit concrete. Though barely understanding the concept of freedom, he envied their unrestrained vitality. Among the vibrant crowd, one girl always sat apart, clutching a notebook like a lifeline. Friendless and motionless, she resembled a statue merging with shadowed corners, strange, gloomy, utterly unlike her peers. Initially, Nathan despised her. Her self-imposed isolation mirrored his physical imprisonment, a reflection too painful to acknowledge. He resented this girl who squandered her healthy body and freedom. The revelation came one autumn afternoon. Returning from hospital tests, Nathan paused by the orphanage gate. He saw her watching a family depart with their newly adopted child, her yearning gaze mirroring his own desperate wish for a functioning heart. From that moment, the girl's quiet presence became his secret companion. Through changing seasons and shifting faces, she remained constant, the silent observer with ink-stained fingers. He memorized the curve of her cheek as she wrote, the way sunlight gilded her hair during afternoon reading hours. Years later, Nathan would trace those same features under moonlight, still trembling as he finally dared whisper, I've wanted to do this since we were kids. But for now, the boy with the fragile heart simply watched, aching to speak yet terrified to disrupt the delicate balance between them. Because he knew his life could end at any moment. Friends were too precious, he feared that dwelling on goodbyes would overwhelm him with grief. Ethan had been a fleeting dream from my youth. A lingering what if frozen in time. A comforting lie. She called it, that well-intentioned fabrication. Unaware, she became Nathan's only friend and first crush in that orphanage. Then she vanished. But fate didn't steal his companion. Instead, it brought her closer. When Nathan's health improved enough to attend high school sporadically, he spotted her name, Olivia, right above his on the honor roll. That afternoon, he lingered outside her classroom gathering courage to say, Hi, I'm Nathan. It's nice to meet you. The words died when he saw her gaze following someone downstairs. Later, he secretly obtained Ethan's contact information. It wasn't about whether Olivia liked him, he simply needed to understand what made Ethan worthy of her affection. Years passed. Nathan flew overseas for life-saving surgery. While unsaid words piled up like unmarked graves, he became a shadow observer of their happiness through college acceptance letters, engagement announcements, wedding photos. Now standing before her with a borrowed heartbeat that no longer faltered, he pushed open the door. "Let's start over," he said, pulse racing yet steady for the first time. "I'm Nathan." This time, the universe didn't steal their moment.